Hello, welcome to Line War. Today this is the third match of the 22Q2 tournament. We have Collier, who has gone with 3 factories, 1 airfield. He started here, they both fought for this territory here. Which is funny because Animorph has started on the other side of that blacklisted territory. He's gone for a town straight away, hoping to be far enough away from the enemy. It seems to be a common thing to go for eco when you've blacklisted a lot. Animorph can see the enemy already. He's gone for an airfield and 1 factory and 2 barracks. That is an eco style. He's trying to get these barracks on these lines so he can spread out a bit faster to claim the territory. This is a very large landmass, and from my opinion, I don't know the outcome of the match yet, but because of the large landmass, I'd say the barracks are a better early start. Having this is always important. You do need a defense, especially when your enemy is going heavily into factories. I'm not really sure who has the advantage here. I think Collier has a lot of land hidden away, but Animorph has a big chunk of land. If he can control it before Collier gets there, they can both see each other. They both know that each other are fairly close to each other, and they started where pretty much both of them wanted to. They fought over this mountain area right in the center of it, which is not too uncommon in this sort of game. He has directed some people to expand, because that is very important. Even if the enemy's here, you do need to keep expanding. And it's interesting to note that Animorph is using single lines to expand, and he spread them out quite thinly, going everywhere, so he doesn't have to worry about that too much later on. And Collier has gone with double lines, just generally all over. So I think both of them don't want to worry about it for too long. They're just trying to get into the match. They both know where each other is. Animorph has exposed his air units already, whereas Collier has not. He still has his airfield. But Animorph has already countered them, because I believe, yeah, he's going into Sam straight away. So he's pretty certain on that. He's already got energy set up, so he can afford these attacks. Is Collier switching into SAM production? He's already started SAM production anyway. He predicted the airfield start, which most people do at this stage of the game. It looks like Animorph is trying to use the mountain to move his units across this way, so that they're stealthed, and you can't see them, generally speaking, because of the lack of visibility. You have stealth in mountains and forests, but when you've got a big bulk of units here, it's negating the stealth, so we can't really see that too much yet. Collier does have energy there, ready for him if he needs to, well, when he wants to put something on there, because he will eventually. But they both have a pretty decent starting location as it is. Animorph has another energy well to use and one there, so I think energy won't be a problem for Animorph if he can control his energy supply. It does look like Collier has pushed Animorph a bit out of the way to start the game. Animorph has set up his lines pretty much all in the north. They're going to capture that land without him having to worry about it at all. He is going to have to focus more down here, but I think there's going to be a fight for that territory. If we have a look down here, they're both going to collide here as well. We have the helicopters coming in to fight, but Collier's SAM are really pushing them away quite easily. There's one going down already. Helicopters are definitely hit and run units. They unload their payload really fast, and then they have to get out of there, because I don't think they have a lot of health. But that is the advantage to them. They do unload the payload really fast compared to a striker who has to keep circling around. We've got another barracks going down here. He hasn't built any structures in the back area to help with expansion. But this does look like a barracks, which is going to help with this expansion here, which he will definitely need, because I think Animorph has a fair amount of units here, and he's going to be able to come at 2 angles at him. And as you can see, the units are disappearing and reappearing here as they start becoming detectable through the mountains. And at this point in the game, Animorph seems to be, not completely, but a little bit defenseless here. Collier has a fair amount of units in the mountain here on the edge of it, and some units trying to expand through Animorph's territory. And as he's doing it, he is taking territory away from Animorph, which is cutting their economy. So let's have a look at their economy as we start the game. They've expanded for a little while now. It's been 7 minutes. So the total capital income of Collier is 470 per minute for now, and 500 for Animorph. And the reason for that is probably these barracks and the town at the beginning. I don't think Collier has any eco structures yet. No, he doesn't. He's focused more on a full forward assault. And I think that's going to be very good for him to begin with. But if Animorph can hold out for long enough, he's going to be able to push back with a larger economy. Especially if he can hold this region of the map against this barracks production. But you can't see what's in this forest. It looks like there's no units as Animorph is collecting the territory. And that's because these units are going down here first. He's switched up the lines a little, so he's got another barracks coming in there. These units are slowly appearing from there, so Collier's going to have to reinforce this area and separate from up here. However, I think he can afford it right now because these units, that helicopter is not going to survive this. And it's gone down. The artillery are just damaging this building, uncontested. He can't get the units in. But there is artillery still being produced on the back line. So once he is able to get those on the front line, or maybe build them up a bit more, that would be great. He has moved his helicopters over here to take these out while the SAM are down here. But Collier is already on that and he's trying to move his SAM in range to get the fire in on that. Collier has artillery moving in through the mountains that Animorph can't really see. However, he has spotted it through the infantry that went down there earlier. It looks like he is in a lot of danger in this area. He's got the production, but he just hasn't had the time to produce them, or he's taken a few bad trades at this point in the game. Animorph is going to have to retreat a little, I think. He's going to have to take some losses before he can push back. He does seem to have more artillery in this area now. He has seemed to have defended well. Just for now, but he has got a bit more of an assault coming forward that he doesn't really know about. It's just starting to reveal themselves now. His town is going to receive a lot of pressure here, and he might actually lose that from 4 units if his helicopters can't take them out on their own. He started production of a barracks, which might just be used as a bullet sponge to protect the town. I don't think he plans on making that happen and make it produce anything to defend from. It's literally to stop the units, slow them down. It's a building blocker. Which might not be a bad idea. If you can save the town by doing it, then it's definitely worth the money in the long run. It looks like he doesn't want to commit his SAMs over here because that would put them vulnerable. He's brought them back to defend the blob of artillery just in case the helicopters come to defend that. Is he still focusing on his expansion? It looks like he is. It looks like he doesn't really need to, as I said earlier. So he's just letting them run wild. His artillery on the front line here is doing alright in this area. Unfortunately, if the random map generation, or the seed, had put a mountain here, these artillery would be moving slower, and Animorph would have had a bit more of a defensive advantage. So although it's stealth shoe here, maybe putting the artillery structures here and an airfield there would be more beneficial, as the units coming towards you might have been a bit slower. Instead, your reinforcements are now being slowed down. He's building a barracks up here to apply some more pressure, meaning even if he's only sending the units there and they're still dying on the way, it means his helicopters are having to retreat to this location all the time, and they can't provide help on the front line. It looks like there has been a battle down here. Animorph has been fighting this area, but this one has been backed up by Collier's barracks there as they progress through the mountains, which have taken out pretty much all the units in the first section of expansion. But Animorph is capturing a lot of territory right now and had built economy structures at the beginning. So currently he's on 700 per minute and Collier is on 600 per minute. Collier's been mostly focused on expanding for his territory and is managing to keep up. Maybe the double line tactics actually were helpful in the beginning at trying to transport the units or move the units through the territory, capturing them in the process. He has neglected these three, but in the long run that shouldn't matter. You can always come back to that. Animorph has managed to build up a significant artillery force here, but they are kind of in the wrong position. As these two units come in, they are taking them on pretty evenly at the minute. However, he is having to defend against two lines of forces. But he does have 4 helicopters now, which should be a bit more of a significant force. It might be able to take on some of the SAM units. Animorph is now drawing his units to this front line here. They're in the mountains. They are going to curve around this line by the looks of it. And Animorph is taking out these units that are slowly coming in with commandos. I assume that's the hope, that the commandos aren't being spotted and they're just going to shoot them, giving them damage over time, without Collier knowing that they're there. Oh, Collier has put a barracks in the mountains, and I don't think... Oh yeah, Animorph can see this. He sent his helicopters to destroy it. His artillery and his units in the mountains have revealed that with their extra vision. And he's trying to expand around the back of Collier's base over there, so we'll keep an eye on that in a bit. See if he's successful at doing any damage there. Those helicopters are probably going to take out this structure here if those SAM units can't get there in time. And that is the good thing about helicopters. Although SAM units are very powerful against air units, maybe I think they're a bit more powerful than they actually are, but the helicopters can attack over here. The SAM units are so slow at getting here, they can just move around and attack the other side. Which I think Collier has realised, and he's placed some defensive units there to stop that from happening. But the helicopters will be pretty good at taking out some strays that come through. Looks like he's got 1 barracks producing for 4 lines here going across. And Animorph's pretty much captured all of the territory, so he's nearly at maximum potential for his territory claims. At that point, he'll have to start taking Collier's territory to make any money, or extra capital. He caught one of the helicopters off guard there. He's going to take another one out. He's just trying to thin the forces out on the front line, I think. But Collier is focused a lot on SAM units. He's got a lot in the area, and he's still got a nice stream of artillery, but I think he's literally feeding them to the front lines, and they're just dying in this onslaught in the mountains there. He maybe needs to build up some of the artillery before pushing them forward. He's got enough SAM units, so he doesn't need to produce many more of them. He still needs to keep an eye on his numbers there. What is Collier thinking of in the future? He still doesn't actually have any energy production. Despite using his helicopters, he's been doing that with his base energy at the beginning of the game. He started to build some now. He's going to be able to build another one soon. And he will nearly also be at his maximum potential for territory claims. Collier is pushing through the territory of Animorph, so he is actually taking away territory. At the minute, he's got 800 per minute, and Animorph has 950 per minute, so Animorph is still ahead in the eco game of this. And it looks like he's taken better trades recently, with the artillery being fed in slowly, which is still happening. The commandos are successfully taking these out, and it looks like Collier hasn't noticed what's killing them yet. Or maybe he has, he just hasn't decided what to do with it yet. It looks like Collier has managed to survive a few artillery units on the front line, and he's able to build them up, but they are getting heavily damaged before they can do too much as a group. It looks like Collier's found the reinforcements that are coming through there, and he's taken them out as they come through one by one, just like his artillery was being destroyed. But I think Collier is also holding down these units, making them weaker as well. Animorph is setting up some production down here to try and catch Collier off guard. His commandos are making a push through here, and they are maybe be able to get some damage in on some structures, but I think he's more focused on scouting at the back, trying to find the energy production or any other valuable targets to harass. Animorph has switched up his helis to go this way to take out these units that are taking his territory. think Collier is not worried about economy structures at all. I don't really think he has much potential with economy structures. There's one there. So he has pretty much focused all of his efforts into building production, whilst maintaining his eco with territory capturing. From Animorph's side of the game, he does have his SAMs set to the side, which isn't that bad. Usually players would have them a bit further back though, just as a bit more protection. And it looks like Collier has spotted the commandos and the helicopters are coming in to take them out. He's noticed this and he doesn't want commandos to get through. It doesn't help with the territory being captured here. Animorph could have avoided that. He's changed the line now, but I think he had one of these lines on before. And if he'd had the blue line there, he would have more stealthily got through there. Right, so what's going on down here? I don't want to miss any battles going on there. It looks like Animorph is taking out some units down here, and Collier has noticed this. He is just literally redirected that right now. So Animorph is taking control of the south, but has been noticed doing it. Now you got to remember that both of these players are focused on expanding. They are focused on their defense and offense in multiple different areas. So we got the main battle going on here, pressure being applied here. Animorph snuck in down the bottom here, and he's snuck in up the top there. And so both players are trying to manage many battles going on here at the same time. And it looks like Animorph's defense is fading slowly. His artillery isn't quite holding up the line as well as it potentially could have. Animorph does have some units coming through this mountain now. He's got some coming through there. And it looks like Collier has set up some SAM units to defend these units being attacked by air units. But it might be a little too late at this point. I think Animorph might be able to take control of this area if Collier doesn't do anything to support that. I think Collier just has so much production he can feed into this, and a blob automatically forms. He set up his buildings around his lines rather than his lines around his buildings. Which is quite interesting. So I wonder what those commanders are doing now, because we can't see them as Collier, but Collier has spotted them. I think he might be forcibly moving those in there. He is, yeah. I think they're being taken out before they can do much damage there. What happened here? There's something destroyed there. That must have been... Yeah, the commandos got to that. So the commandos are sneaking around and doing some damage in the back of his base. He switched this into a flag command, which I probably wouldn't have done, not for the commandos. You want them to sneak around undetected in that base area. It seems like when the army falls, they're just reinforced again before Collier can actually do any damage to anything there. And it looks like Animorph pulled back some of his forces to deal with this area before, instead of actually going on the offensive, he's taken a more defensive approach in the south there, trying to make sure he controls this area before putting pressure later on. Which might actually allow Collier to do something about it, but considering he was spotted down here, might not actually be a bad idea. If he wasn't spotted down in the south, it might have been a better idea to try and push forward without Collier realizing. It looks like Animorph's commando line is not going to hold up against these now, so commandos that got through are going to be the commandos that are going to stay there. He's tried to sneak in a barracks over here to increase production, so he might actually have some commandos backed up there. Maybe I was wrong, but he sent some artillery this way to maybe clear the line for his commandos to get through. But I feel like both players are spreading themselves out a bit too thin in certain areas. It's hard to get that balance of what amount of pressure to apply and how to respond with what amount of pressure as well. So This has just been a constant onslaught throughout the entire game of artillery, commandos, and single lines that just never get deleted or changed. I feel like both players had their strategy and they've just continued with the same strategy, pushing through, and it's not too easy to adapt when it's artillery blobs backed up by SAM units. The counter to it is a bigger artillery blob, so that is what we are seeing here, but they're at least trying to do different things around the major battles going on. They're trying to take out weak points, trying to spot any points they can take control over. Animorph seems to have defended this area. I know there was helicopters coming in. Has Collier forgotten about it? He's sending his own commando up there. That's quite smart. Trying to go there with stealth units, so now that this area has been taken, it's going to be destroyed in the same way it was made. And this unit's going to die from one commando in the same way that they took it. Can Animorph see that commando coming in? He can. SAM units are a big enough blob, and although they are focused on anti-air, they do have a minigun turret on top. They can take out infantry quite well too. Just not their primary focus. It does look like Animorph is trying to push forward at all times. He's not trying to hold it up like a defensive line. He's just constantly trying to push forward. But he is trying to push forward from a different angle as well. So maybe that'll help take out some of these units over here. I'm not sure how many are exactly there. It looks like a bit bigger now. But there is going to be a lot more pressure down in the south against Collier with these units here. So they're going to push forward there. Got some artillery backing that up. Does look like he's building even more units to come round. Oh wow, he's even collecting the territories that Collier neglected. Or at least I think he did. Yeah, he didn't even take these ones. So Animorph is literally surrounding this whole area, holding off this front line as long as possible, and he's building a nuke. Yeah, I was checking if I was looking at the right person then. Collier can see this, even though the nuke itself is stealthed and in the mountains. So Collier knows he's going to have to deal with a nuke soon. And Collier, his economy is holding him back right now. He's got 650 per minute, but his upkeep costs on the buildings and the units are just not allowing him to produce any more units. Whereas Animorph, his economy play at the beginning of the game has allowed him to gain control and keep up the production. Let's have a look at how much he's producing now. So he's got 1,600 every minute compared to Collier's 600. He's nearly at triple the amount Collier is earning. And it looks like Collier has lost his frontline units at this point. He just wasn't able to keep up the pace. It looks like this battle was won with economy more than anything else in particular. And Animorph is showing off that economy by building this nuke on the front lines. Might be more of a psychological tactic to build it there than it was to have it at the back. I get the feeling though that there's going to be no stopping this artillery line. Let's see if Collier has changed his lines up. No, he's still trying to push through in one straight line. He probably needs to delete this line at a certain point, pull back and try to regroup his units and push back in one course. Maybe from the side a little bit, take less damage. Has Animorph successfully kept that area up there? He has, and he's building more production up there just to add pressure all over. So Collier is trying to deal with these units up here with some commandos still. He's got those going up there. He has successfully stopped an attack going on down here. He's protecting this energy well. And I just a swarm of units all over. I want to know what the lines look like. A bit of a mess, but they are still straight. They're quite well placed. It looks a bit chaotic, but it's not, I don't think. Right, this line of artillery is doing extremely well now. The fact that it's not streaming in one line, even though he's using these line commands, they aren't streaming in through in one line. They are still forming this one long line, creating a constant firing line across this section. Another structure goes down from Collier. Animorph has spotted the airfield, the energy, and he's targeting them specifically. So units get close, they're going to prioritize this command, and they're going to separate from this line here and target the structure specifically. I don't think he's going to win too much there, but we'll keep an eye on that. Up in the north here, we've got the commandos defending the territory they took earlier from commandos. Another structure's gone down. The nuke wasn't built before the match actually ended. We have ended the match now. I'm pretty certain that Animorph absolutely swarmed his enemy there and was able to take this match. And we'll be moving on into the next round of this tournament. So there are 2 more videos on the screen right now. There is a playlist of this tournament if you would like to keep watching. And I'll see you around with the next video.